Is Kings Island, located in Mason, Ohio, really haunted? It really is, and you're about to learn my own personal story on the creepiest moment of my life that happened at Kings Island. But first, I wanted to share some creepy stories that came from within one of the best parks in the world. Kings Island opened on April 29, 1972, and the 700-acre property rests on land that was once owned by the King's Powder Company. And what most visitors to the park do not realize is that tucked away among the roller coasters, rides, and midway games is a creepy cemetery that is located on park grounds. The small, historic cemetery dating back to the 1840s and known historically as the Dog Street Cemetery sits at the northern end of the Kings Island parking lot, as you can see here. And you can find over 70 grave sites in this cemetery, although only 50 headstones or so still stand today. But the cemetery is not the only creepy thing about Kings Island. Traveling back to 1976, when a 20-year-old Lion Country Safari Ranger was mauled to death by a lion after leaving the safety of his Jeep to relieve himself. The safari ride operated at the park from 1974 until 1993, and in the year 2000, then Paramount's Kings Island opened Son of Beast, which was built on this exact plot of land. Now that explains a lot of the ride's issues in a very ghostly way. I don't know about you, but I'm just glad that Banshee has had no issues. On Friday, May 13, 1983, Kings Island hosted a grad night for local high schools. And this was the night where the famed Tower Johnny fell to his death while climbing around the restricted area of the park's Eiffel Tower. The young man named Johnny Harder was killed after falling to his death down the elevator shaft. The common version claims he was decapitated after being hit by the counterweight of one of the ride's elevators. Tower Johnny is one of the most popular ghosts at Kings Island, and most odd occurrences at the park are blamed on him. Some claim to see him looking back at them from the Eiffel Tower, or hanging out at the fountain in front of the tower itself. These sightings began after his actual death at the park. Tower Johnny is often blamed for electrical malfunctions in the park. In fact, to this day, trip sensors with no apparent cause are called Johnnies by Kings Island employees. One of the most popular Kings Island hauntings is a little girl in a blue dress that is seen by visitors and employees far more than others. At this time, not much is known about the young little ghost other than that she seems to predate the park and is connected to the land. Witnesses have described her being a young girl around 4 feet tall and dressed in an old-fashioned 19th century blue dress. She aimlessly roams the Kings Island parking lot, front gate, admissions, and of course, the old international restaurant that is located above the park's main entrance. It is rumored that the little girl drowned in a lake on the property before Kings Island was a thing, and that she is buried in that cemetery I spoke about a few minutes ago. Racer Boy is yet another ghost that park guests and employees have witnessed, and this little boy seems to hang around the park's Racer wooden roller coaster. And he is most often seen dressed entirely in white, and his presence startles guests who often alert employees about the very realistic looking child wandering too close to the wooden roller coaster. Other spirits found in the park include a ghost that haunts the park's Whitewater Canyon attraction. Countless employees have heard the creepy sounds of a child's giggle to go along with the sound of rocks hitting against the tower's walls. It is said that this only seems to happen as the last visitors have exited the ride. Kings Island employees call this poltergeist Woody and is most often experienced at Tower 2, which is deep in the woods and only accessible by employees by a small footpath. And all of these bone-chilling stories leads us back to the Beast, the park's famed wooden roller coaster that opened in 1979, where several ghosts reportedly haunt the Beast roller coaster, especially at night. The most common times is during those damp, foggy, and very pitch black nights right around park closing. There are stories of a ghost that haunts the tunnels of the ride's double helix, and there's also reports of another ghost that you can see sitting down on the stairs at the base of the coaster's second lift hill. Now, before I share my terrifying story about what happened to me while I was working on the Beast roller coaster, I wanted to bring up a great gift idea that I have for you for any birthday or holiday. If you love theme parks and crossword or word search puzzles, then you definitely have to check out these awesome gifts that you can find on Amazon. These books are really inexpensive and make for an amazing gift for anyone who loves theme parks or roller coasters. Now, let's get dark and creepy. You need to hear about my real-life ghost story that happened to me while I was working on the Beast at Kings Island. And rumors have been out there for years that the Beast roller coaster is really haunted. And here is my chilling story of my encounter on a late, foggy July 4th in 2004. And everything you're about to hear is the absolute truth and really did happen. The summer of 2004 was one of the best summers of my entire life. That was because I was a part of the famed Beast and Flying Eagles crew and made some great lifelong friends because of that summer. But there was one night that still startles me to this day, and any ride on the Beast hasn't been the same ever since. Back when I worked at Kings Island, the park was owned by Paramount, and as typical during the 4th of July weekend, the park closed the Beast early in preparation for the nightly fireworks show. So once we cycled the last train for the night around 6 p.m., our crew was sent to other attractions in the park to help out until the park closed. I was sent over to help out the racer crew for the rest of the night. Now, since I never worked on the racer before and I really didn't know the crew, I left all of my personal belongings inside of our crew's closet that is located in the Beast station right behind the wall where guests line up to wait for the very front row. So 11 p.m. came, and once the last park guest rode the racer, I helped the crew clean up, and then I clocked out and walked back over to the Beast to grab my belongings. And our crew would always walk along the pathway in between the now-defunct Tomb Raider the ride and the Beast to access the station. But as I was walking up to the station, I knew something was just off. It was foggy, and the only lights on in the area were the two lights on top of the Beast lift hill. Honestly, it was so dark I could barely see. Walking under the station to the stairs to access the loading area at night has always been creepy, but it's definitely creepier when you're doing it all alone. Once I made it to the station platform, I was walking down the load side of the station, and I just had a strong feeling that something would happen. Like the air gates would open, or I hear an all clear on the microphone, something. And honestly, I just felt like something was watching me. I turned the light on as soon as I got to the closet, and by the way, this all took place before cell phones offered flashlights. I then grabbed my belongings and turned off the only light in the entire station. Then I walked down the load platform to head down the stairs to leave the area. Now, no one was around the area since it was so late, and my other crew members were sent to the kiddie area, so they already left the park at this point. As I was walking down the same path between Tomb Raider and the Beast to leave the area, I noticed that a few of the Beast station lights suddenly turned on. And at first, I was like, okay, that's convenient since I really could have used the lighting a few minutes earlier. I honestly just thought that the lights were on a timer, so I really didn't think anything of it as of yet. Until 9 a.m. the next day, because after I clocked in for my shift, I then had a conversation with some of the wood coaster maintenance guys working on the Beast. And as we were talking, I brought up what happened the night before, and their response really gave me chills. They said that the only way for the lights that did turn on, in which I described, is by flipping the switch in the same closet that I was just at. I figured that the lights were just on a timer, but according to them, that was no such thing back in 2004, so they had to be turned on manually. They also said that they were all finished with their nightly routine at the Beast by 9:30 p.m. and left to go close up some other rides that were already closed for the evening. No one was near the station when I was there because I would have heard them or have seen them. and the timing wouldn't add up right because I was out of the closet and then less than a minute later, the lights turned on. And on top of that, when I told the maintenance guys about my story, they all seemed a little spooked, which was definitely unsettling for me. By now, I am sure that the light switches are all automatic and on timers, but this was way back in 2004. I have had friends who have seen or heard ghosts while working at Kings Island, and there are also rumors that the Beast is indeed haunted. Now, even though I didn't see a physical ghost, I could tell there was something near me, and by far one of the most freaky moments of my life. But in a way, it was really cool because it was just me and the roller coaster that I loved. Do you have any haunting stories about theme parks or rides, or just in general? I would really like to hear about it, so please let me know in the comments. And as always, thank you so much for watching. Remember to smile today, think positive, and keep riding coasters.